this like gross train from Brixton. This one time it was like freezing and some car drove past and just wet me out, like a scene out of a film. So loads of things happened to me when I was 30. I bought the practice, I got engaged to Martin, and I got asked to go on the show. Once you get your mindset right and you get your belief system right, the universe will deliver. And I was just spending the money. I got myself an office, I kitted it out. And literally year 2, it was like, shit, It takes time. And time is what you don't see.
Hannah, welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Travelling all the way from good old Cheshire.
That's right.
So look, let's dive into it. How would you define greatness? What would you say are the characteristic traits to make someone great?
Wow, we're going straight in, aren't we? Define greatness. Okay. I would probably say that, I mean, I've always said that I think imagination is probably really key because when I was a little girl, all I was doing was I was sort of like envisaging myself, what I wanted to achieve, who I wanted to be. And I think it's so important that you've got that ability to be able to, and I know like it's quite cringy because everyone goes on about like visualization and manifestation and all these like buzzwords, but I do think it's so important to be able to really sort of imagine yourself and where you're going and who you want to be and what kind of person you want to be, what kind of lifestyle you want, and then sort of create your goal based on that. So I think for me, somebody that's got that real imaginative, innovative, authentic streak is what makes them great, you know?
Yeah.
You've got to be authentic at the
Love
end of
that.
the day.
And honestly, we could geek out for another 3 hours just talking about visualization.
Yeah.
So I'm big in it as well. So I have a book called The Book of Quantum.
Right.
It's basically just a black book, and I literally write everything in there of what's, I always say it's already happened, time just hasn't caught up as yet. So I'm a big believer in that. And so I've got 2 kids. My big boy, Brock turns, I should say big boy in case I watch it back and say, I'm not a little boy, Dad, I'm a big boy. He turns 5, but then Maya turns 2 in July. And I literally wrote in the book, before she were born, the mum should be born, what she'd look like, the name of it, etc., and all that came true.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah. Law of attraction, all of that stuff that you just said there.
Wait, hang on. The month.
I said the month that she'd be born. I said, what she'd look like in regards to hair colour, her eyes.
Oh my god!
And then she was the second one. We said that I'd have me and my missus. We said we'd have Brock first, and she'd come, and then she came as well.
Wow,
so I'm a big believer in that.
That is crazy.
That's crazy for you to say though, that at such a young age you already visualise and want it to be. So when you say young, how old would you have been?
Probably about 7 or 8. That's when I can remember actively sort of like really thinking and visualising and imagining. And it used to be, do you know when it was? It was always when we had long journeys and Mum and Dad were driving and I was in the back. And it's mad because nowadays everyone's got iPads and iPhones. Yeah. I'm showing my age now. But everyone's got iPhones and iPads, and I think like there's so little time for active imagination, like imaginative thoughts. Yeah. You just go on your iPad, or if the kids are in the back, you literally give them an iPad and they're watching like Peppa Pig or whatever. Whereas we never had that. Yep. So it was just times where I could just sit, and I used to love it. Be like, oh yes, I've got an hour to like think about shit. Yeah. And I just used to love just like, it was like daydreaming basically. But just really sort of like having fun and imagining the kind of person and life and everything that I wanted to have. Where
were you brought up then? So what were your upbringing like? What were your parents at the time? Were they... you talk about, the visualisation there, did you have someone who influenced that, your dad or your mum? Or?
Not really.
No?
No, not really. I just used to like imaginative, I just used to like it. I used to like daydreaming.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? What do you do for a hobby, daydream? But no, I remember, I really do remember, like when I was younger, that is what I used to do a lot of. But, and that's why I always say to people, it's really important that you do take some time in your day just to think, because nowadays it's literally polluted with iPhone, social media. Yeah. There's so much stuff that makes us not think, that's actually prevents you from doing that. Yeah. So it's really important to actually spend time to yourself in your own thoughts, thinking about stuff. And I think I did a lot of that when I was younger.
So tell me to those younger days then. So we're probably similar age, right? I'm guessing there.
Probably.
So when you were younger, tell me about school. Where were you brought up? What were your upbringing like?
So my mum and dad are actually both Iranian. So my dad moved over to England when he was 15. And then when he was older, I think he was like 24 or 25, he went back to Iran. He met my mum.
Yeah.
She was youngest of 7. She moved over with my dad. I mean, they've done so well. Like, they didn't speak a word. Like, my mum didn't speak a word of English. Do you know what I mean? Like, she came, she like studied. They're both really academic. So that was the sort of like undertone in our house. Like, it was like, you're going to uni, you're studying, you're this, you're this. So I had quite a sort of like strict sort of upbringing, I would say, in terms of like studies and that kind of thing. But I grew up in Bolton.
Nice. Yeah, Northern.
Northern.
Can't tell the accent.
I know, honestly, it's terrible. I try and shift it. I'm like, oh, I live in Cheshire now.
Fine, forget him.
Well, I'm like, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. This is me. So I grew up in Bolton. And do you know what? Like, you know, I think that it was hard for me and my brother growing up because we lived in a very white Western like society and community, and you know, our surnames were different, we looked different. I think Cameron got a lot more racism than I did growing up. Like, I didn't really experience that much of it, to be fair, but my brother did. So it was hard. I feel like we never really felt like we fitted in because my mum and dad would be very sort of like, you're not, there was a large like Indian and Pakistani community where we lived. They were very adamant, you're not like them, you're not like that in part of, you know, that community, but you're not English and you're not this. So it was like, well, what the hell are we then? Like, who am I supposed to hang out with? Do you know what I mean? So it was really weird, I feel like, growing up. I feel like probably I never really felt like I fitted in anywhere. So yeah, it was tough. There was challenges, and especially as a girl, you know, my parents were, you know, very sort of funny about drinking, about boys, about going out, about this. So I had all that. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, the culture
climbing
back then
out my window at night, literally.
No, the culture in the parks, wasn't it, with these bottle of cider?
Yeah, exactly.
Being there.
Exactly.
What were your so? Growing up, I assume you did well at school. Did you go to university after that?
Yeah. So
did you already have your mindset on wanting to do dentistry at that time?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I always really liked acting. Like, I loved it. I loved drama, theatre, studies.
Can't tell. Joking.
And literally, I'm like, drama, theatre. But I used to love all that. And I feel like it probably wasn't really something that my parents, not that they were, do you know what? I think I never forget my dad sat me down and he was like, listen, I'll take you to drama school, but these kids can sing, dance, act, they can do it. So he sort of like talked me out of it. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it probably wasn't, I think he felt like it was very risky if I wanted to go down that road. So then I was like, right, okay, what am I going to do? And then I did a lot of like work experience and stuff like that. And I got I got put with this dentist. He was ace. Yeah. He drove a Porsche. He had a sick life, literally. And like, he was a cosmetic dentist. So I remember shadowing him and being like, whoa, he's like transforming people's like literally these people like crying, bringing in flowers, you know, transforming their confidence. Yeah. And I was like, this is ace. Like, this is actually great. So I never forget, went back to one of my teachers. I was like, I want to be a dentist. And they were like, it's a joke, because I was shit at science. I was shit at science. Like, I was so good at the art subjects, like theatre and English and history, but science, it was like another language. Like chemistry, I was like, what the fuck? I don't even. So anyway, they were just very much quite negative and were like, there's no way you're getting in. You need straight A's for dentistry. And that was it. If someone tells me I can't do something, I was like, right.
Yeah, I love that though. So people watching this, there'll be so many people who, even at a young age, it don't matter even what type of age, that environment that around them might try and suffer them saying, no, you sit there, that's where you belong. So what do you think that you have or you hold as a strength to say, well, no, I know who I am, my worth, my value, to actually break out from that? Because many people find that a struggle, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't know, I guess, like I was saying, I mean, for me, it's just my personality, I guess, in terms of if you tell me I can't do something, instead of it making me feel it and believe it and go, actually, yeah, you're right, and, you know, back down, I'm like, I can do this. Like, it takes me the other way. But I think that's such a good point, because I do feel like a lot of the time, the people around you impact you so much. Like, and I'm talking close people, like your parents, your friends, family members. You know, when people tell you you can't do something, you start to believe that you can't, you know, or even like traits. Oh, forget about Johnny. He's really quiet. Or like, he's really shy. But why are you telling him that he's shy and he's quiet? Like, you're giving him a frigging persona, you know, when he's only frigging 8, you know? Like, I think those kind of, and I think people need to be really careful with how they talk to young people or talk about young people, because you can start to really believe that about yourself. You know, I am quiet, I am shy, I can't do dentistry, I'm too thick, or I'm not a people person. And it's those belief systems that then shape your future.
Absolutely.
So you just got to just make sure that you have this shield on, and you just do not let these comments penetrate you. Keep, you know, protect your core, and that can be hard.
Yeah, it's true.
But you've got to protect yourself.
Yeah, it's like like I said, going back to my little boy. So I think I said it on a podcast episode previously. Is I literally said to my little boy, "What does it mean to be a Donnelly?" And he's 4. And if you ask him that question now, he'll say, "It means I'm." What does he say? He goes, "I mean, I'm strong. It means I'm confident. It means I'm the king. I can achieve anything."
Aww,
he's 4,
bless
right?
him.
So what you said there, I totally agree. And people might say that the other way and think, "Oh, you're too pushy or conditioning him." No, I'm letting him understand the opposite. Sort of, I can't do this. I'm not good at this. I might not be able to achieve this. Like, literally, I always say to everyone, we all came from our mother's wombs, all of us, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're Mark Zuckerberg, whether you're Elon Musk, and the reality is you all sit on the same foot. Whether you had an upbringing that had money in it, whatever, but the individual had to take those steps down the right path or the wrong path. And that's always going to be in here, isn't it? So do you think a key trait to hold is your mindset? Visualization is great, but persevering in times in your low moments also.
Yeah, 100%. I think the thing that differentiates people that are good and people that are great, it just boils down to one thing, and that one thing is determination. Like, it's continuously getting up and getting back on the horse, dusting yourself off and going again. And there are so many people, it's like hurdles. There are so many people that fall at the first 4 or 5 hurdles. There's about fucking 200 hurdles you've got to go. So unless you're willing to go the distance, then you can't sit there and say, oh, why am I not successful? Why am I not this? It's just literally about perseverance. And I do believe that, like, once you get your mindset right and you get your belief system right, the universe will deliver. Like,
Absolutely.
You will start to attract those opportunities that you're looking for. But a lot of it all starts with your mindset. You've got to get that sorted first, get your belief systems sorted, and then things will start falling into place.
If you go looking for trouble, you're going to find trouble, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you just change that position.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So when you worked with that dentist and you thought, oh, he's got this Porsche. Oh my God, this looks amazing. This is awesome. First of all, what was the Porsche, by the way? Were it a before?
I have no idea.
Probably a Boxster or a Carrera, wasn't it? It was just a Porsche.
It was a Porsche. I didn't have a clue. I just
never
saw
had
it and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
People can, and look, there's many people have been in your position where they can look at being a cosmetic dentist and you've achieved so much even more further. So when you was working in the dentistry, before you started your own practice in your own clinic, what was that defining moment to think, you know what, I could do this myself and build a business off the back of this?
I think from a very early, I mean, once I went into dental school, I'm not going to lie, I frigging struggled. I failed my first year and then I had to resit the exams.
Is that the theory of it?
This is dentistry, my degree. So, because I was out partying. I was like, yes, no dad, no mum. I'm like literally doing shots and loving life and literally. Like, so my whole first year, I was like a loose cannon. I'd like literally been set free. And I was like, oh, mum and dad are going to be like, oh, fucking hell. But honestly, I was like wild. I was wild. And so the first year got to the exams and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. So I failed them and then I got a chance to resit them and that summer was frigging dreadful. I just literally had to be locked in a room revising for like 5 weeks because I thought if I don't pass these exams, I'm getting kicked off the course. So that was a learning curve and I just made a promise to myself after that. I was like, I ain't failing again. It's not worth it. Like, I'm going to have to try and work out this balance of partying and having a good time, but actually
So still not giving up the party, then we'll find the balance,
Going to have to fit the party in somewhere. Thankfully, I passed the exams. And I mean, all the way through dental school, I think I always knew I wanted to own my own business. I think it's just something that's within you. Like, I guess, you know, just all of those things that you can't control if it's not your own business. I'm a bit of a control freak. What can I say? I just want to have control. But I wanted to like be able to like build something like a brand, an experience. I always used to think about this patient experience, you know, from the minute the patient walks in the door, what do they see? What do they hear? What do they smell? What do they feel? You know, I was always like really fascinated with this whole like experience of somebody coming to see you. And you know, yeah, of course you've got the dentistry and the chair and, you know, the smile and everything at the end of it, but that whole A to Z of looking after a patient was something I was like, yes, I want to have a go at that.
Yeah, love that. Thank you. Anyone watches this, take fucking note of that, because this is what I always say to my businesses who I look after. So as I said, I look after a lot of physio businesses and a lot of everyone's patient facing. And the problem is in business is that they always look to get the customer to make the sale and just drive revenue. Whereas I say, no, you make the sale to get the customer and focus on the customer. Exactly. And it's not A to B. They're in the door, now they're finished and get them out the door. This is a whole fucking backstory of literally every single step from before they've walked in the doors, like what they're receiving on the back end of that. Like we all do all the automations, what they receive. So for example, if you came to my clinic for physio, not only would you, we'd answer the call and we'd give you an understanding of what's going on, before you even walked in the door, we send you a bespoke video of what's going to happen in your session, introducing you to the therapist, what it's going to be like when you walk in the door. And they do literally a video tour saying, look, when you come in the door, you'll see us, you'll be seated X, Y, and Z. And we ensure that that's already embedded to understand, this is a different level. And when they walk out the door and they've paid for the plan of care, they go with a welcome pack, which is a thank you from us, chocolates in there, all these little things as well that they could take away where they feel like they've had an experience. And then that just continues throughout. That's then going to give us a customer to then hopefully increase the lifetime value and organically just drive more people in. So I think you're absolutely right. When it comes to building a business, people focus on the market and the sales operations, but I actually think the number one priority is focusing on the customer and the experience that they receive.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, and I don't know, this is just something that I think is that like, a lot of the times when you're thinking about having your own business and you want to own your own business, a lot of people think about money. You know, they think, oh, it's money, it's money, it's money. Money, and I promise you, swear down, money has never, ever been my driving force, ever. Yeah. Like, it's always been, you know, you like you've just said, you know, you've got to take responsibility for that customer, client, patient, whoever, and it is their experience with you. From, you know, the moment they see an ad, from the moment they ring the practice and talk to the receptionist, or they're in the chair. And I think with dentistry, I mean, you know this as well with physio, it's the same thing, it's a service. You know, with dentistry, people are scared. Like, people have had shitty experiences. Absolutely. They hate it. Yeah. You know, there's so many people that, you know, are so frightened because when they were a kid, someone did something to them and it was traumatic. Yeah. So this was a real area that we could then, you know, we could actually think about it, map it out, and that's the foundation of your business, you know. So so for me, that was what I really wanted. I finished my degree at Liverpool. I then went on to do further a senior house officer year at King's College Hospital in London. So I did further training, and then I did a 3-year part-time MSc.
So were you prepared for the long game with this?
Yeah, well, I mean, do you know what?
People want it fast, quick and easy, too fast, don't they? It doesn't happen like that.
Exactly. As I was doing it, I was like, oh, God, this is so fucking long. Yeah. And especially after a 5-year degree, I'm like, oh, God, more training. But there was just something in me that thought, you know, invest now. If you want to start owning a private practice and acting like the big bollocks and going and forget, you need the frigging backing. You know, I can't just go and be like, oh, I've got a BDS. I needed to have, you know, further qualifications. And that takes time. If you think about it, it was 9 years of like study and that before I even contemplated going to, go into a practice and buying it. So again, you know, this is what we were talking about earlier in terms of the iceberg. People only see the tip. They think, oh my God, you know, you're so lucky, you've done it. You think, lucky.
Look what she drives, look what she's got.
You want to see what's under here. It's like an absolute mound of stuff.
So talk about that. Let's talk about that then, because I think people do look at that. I think, like, even my story, I'm not going to go too much into it, but like, I had a time when I were opposite to yourself, actually. My driving motivation was money, and that got me no money. So like, at a young age, I was always trying to chase the money, and I was getting frustrated, and my own mindset, and this is at a younger stage where I'm jealous of people and bitter. And then when I flipped that, I thought, what are you doing? Found myself and just focused on my value, things fell into place. But at this position now, like people might look at you for sure, myself, other people who they deem as successful, whether it be money, whether it be the car they drive, the house they've got, the business they've got, whatever. But like you said there, and we spoke off camera, and I want to touch on it here, it is underneath that iceberg. They don't see the depression, the stress, the frustration. It's all right us going on these great holidays. Like you've been to a beautiful in Dubai. Like I saw the pictures in the video and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till we get away. I got to New York in 2 weeks for a week.
Nice.
So I'm like, can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
But this is what I always say on my Instagram story, and I say it, and I'm very raw and open, honest with it, is they see the glamour of the holiday. They don't see the fucking work it took to get there. But it's easy, they might think, to get there. It's harder to maintain it. So what would you say goes on underneath? Like, have you had times of where you found times challenging, you wanted to throw in the towel, yeah?
Oh my God.
How many times a week do you do that?
Some terrible times, some terrible lows. And like, I mean, I guess, we blame people for saying, oh, they only see the surface, they only see that. But that's the only bits we put out.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't putting out, oh, I'm crying in the laundry room into my freaking, like, I don't know. You do not put out the shit times. Yeah. And I think that can sometimes really skew how people are seeing your life as well. And that's social media, you're not going to put, the times you're depressed or drinking or doing this or doing that. You don't do that. But no, like, it's every single stage has had its challenges, so obviously uni that had its challenges, then working in that in a hospital environment and doing all of that master's work that had its challenges. I never forget, I didn't have a car at the time, and I was getting I had to every morning I had to get this like gross train from Brixton, and it was minking. It was the characters that were on this train, honestly. Yeah. And I used to get back, and it was like dark, and then from the train I had to then get a bus, and like I remember this one time it was like freezing, and some car drove past and just wet me out, like a scene out of a film. Yeah. Literally, it was like a depressing scene out of a film, and I was like, ugh.
And just someone randomly just playing the violin next to you for some reason.
Exactly, it starts raining. But honestly, it was horrendous, and I just never forget that train from Brixton, because it just was such a low, like I was like, is this ever gonna pay off? Like, am I ever gonna get where I want to be? Like, this questioning is just yourself. Shit, yeah. And that went on for a year. So, and you see the holiday in Dubai and you think, oh, that was great. But actually, there were so many moments like that. And
so how do you reframe your mindset then? How to go from, those negative thoughts you might be thinking, and is it going to happen? How do you reset yourself and say, no, it is going to happen?
I think it's just being very clear in your head from the beginning, that goal and that person. And that, that visualization that I was telling you about is about thinking. And I always say this to people, whenever people ask me for advice or they come to me and they go, I don't know what to do, or I'm not sure what I'm doing. I say, right, what does the most happiest version of you, if you could have everything and anything in the world, tell me now what that person is. Like, who is that person? They're like, oh, well, I've got a job and I'm working from home, dead happy, I've got a really nice car, I've got this. I'm like, right, that thought, stick that in your head as your milestone, and that is it. Like, through the tough times, the hard times, you've got to just keep that vision in your head. And that was really, I think, something that I had to hold on to during the reality TV phase of my life.
Which we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
So tell me, I'm interested then, what's your real purpose and your why behind everything you do then? What's your driving force behind it?
I want to own a super brand. Like, I want to own a super successful brand that's global. That's my target. That's my bullseye. So everything that I've done so far is going towards that. Yeah.
And has that always been your ambition from the very start in building that brand to be global?
No, I think, do you know what? I think it's shifted. It's only shifted twice in my life. One was, 3 times I would say. Obviously, my first goal was to be a dentist. And I had that in my head from being a really young kid. Yeah. The second goal was I really wanted to be on TV. Yeah. That it's that whole the drama side. Like, I always wanted to be famous. Like, I liked the idea of getting recognised. We'll get into that in a second. But the idea of getting recognised and being on a TV show and like the glam of being in the media. Like, loved that idea. And then it shifted very quickly after that to like brand owner, business. You know, that's going to be my main focus.
Yeah. And so during that period, so when I want to go back to when you first opened your first clinic then, before we even get into the TV side of things.
Yeah.
When you started that business, how many staff have you got currently at the moment?
It's about 16.
16, wow. So when you first opened it, were it just yourself and some others, like when you first started the clinic?
Well, no. So Kiln Lane, interestingly, I started working at Kiln Lane because Kiln Lane was owned previously by a guy, bless him, he was lovely, but he was like 69, and he was like a sleeping owner, so he didn't have anything to do with the practice. It had a couple of dentists in there working a day or two, so it was it was a lot quieter. The lists weren't as busy, but I started working there, and for me, the reason that I was like, this is the one, was the practice manager. Like, she was shit hot. She was amazing. She was just like, we get on so well. I feel like she's like my soul sister, you know? Like,
she's still there today?
Oh, God, yeah.
Nice.
My fairy godmother, Jo, I love her.
Shout out, Jo.
She's like my right arm, honestly. She's just an amazing lady, and like very spiritual, like got me very much into spirituality.
Nice.
And just a really cool person.
Nice.
And I just knew, I was like, this woman is worth her weight in gold, literally. Because I know a lot of practices struggle with, you know, managing staff, managing clinicians, managing, and if you've got a solid manager, you're literally
100%.
fucking laughing.
They're the glue.
They're the glue, exactly. And obviously Kiln Lane had so much potential. You know, it was really it was in a good place, a lot of work around. But yeah, and so then I decided this is the one I'm going to go for. So I approached him, approached the guy, and I said, listen, you know, I really want the practice. And then it was 2 years of negotiations.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to go to the bank.
Just for the sale alone?
Yeah, just for the sale alone. Yeah. I had to go to the bank. I never forget, it was hilarious. Went in and there was like three old guys, you know, like sat there. Because I was going for like a mortgage loan. I had to loan money to buy it. Because I was like, I've got no money. So what am I going to do? So I had to go to the bank. And they sort of looked at me up and down like, are you joking? Like, you know, because I looked about 20. I was like, I'm here to
Can I have some money?
Yeah, exactly.
Please,
Can
sir,
I have
what's
some
some
money,
more?
please? Yeah. And they were just kind of like looking at me like, is this for real?
I love that.
It was funny, And then I got the loan. I had to put my mum and dad's house on as a guarantee. I went to my dad.
So they obviously believed in you to do that. I
was like, Dad, can we put your house on?
Were you not stressed and anxious at the thought of, like, obviously,
it was a risk.
You know where it's going to go. You believe it here. But there's a lot of risk as much as there's reward in
there.
There
was a lot of risk associated. And what made it worse was, as the sale was going through, one of the dentists that was like the key man dentist, you know, like he'd been there for 20 years. He was, you know, he had the majority of the patients. He left. He went off sick leave. So I was like, fuck, what are we going to do? You know, like this was the dentist that the majority of the patients went to see. So yeah, it was like me. I'll never forget, me and Jo were in that office and I was like pacing, going, my mum and dad's house is on this fucking practice, Jo, what am I going to do? And she was like, it's all right, we're going to deal with it, we'll deal with it. And we actually managed it really, really well, you know, together. But yeah, I mean, 6 months after I completed, because I always say this is really weird, was talking about visualizations and you saying about your son and putting it all down. I used to always say to myself, I will own a practice before I'm 30. I'll own a practice before I'm 30. And the sale actually went through.
Your 30th birthday?
On the day, so as the close of business on the 29th of March, my birthday's on the 30th.
No way.
On the 30th of March was the first day that H. Maraftab Limited owned the practice.
Crazy.
It's fucking mental.
Told you. Yeah, it fucking works, doesn't it? Fucking works. Yeah. What, you sound like you're a bit like me in the sense of you get comfortable in uncomfortable moments.
Yeah.
Because for a long time I didn't, and I've said this a lot on these episodes, is that the analogy I'd use is I could easily sit in, you know, flames could get further in and hotter, but I would be fucking sitting there until I don't feel that heat no more. For a long time I'd get out and I'd walk off and I can't handle it. So how do you handle those uncomfortable moments to get comfortable in those moments? And another thing that I think is a great trait about you, even just short term having this conversation, is, and people look at this wrong, right? So I'm very fucking selfish, but for the right sense. And when people think of selfish, they think maybe up his ass, it's all about him. Excuse me. He just wants it all himself. But I believe if I'm selfish in knowing what I want, I'm going to fucking get it. There's no distractions. It benefits those around me, i.e. my missus, my kids, and those who actually mean the most to me.
Yeah.
I kind of get that from you in the sense of, you know your direction, you know what you're going to get. There's no distractions, no matter who's coming into your life. And that is being selfish, right? So touch on that a little bit more, because I think that's super important. Because I think if people can find their inner comfortability in being uncomfortable and a bit of selfishness, those troubling moments, you find yourself out from them.
You're so right. It is, yeah, you're very right. It is kind of selfish. And I guess I've always been like this, in terms of having the goal, having the purpose, and then not giving a shit what is going on around me. Not in a nasty way, not ever being like horrible to people or whatever, but being very clear cut that that's what I'm here for. Like, it, you know, I'm very... It's very difficult to distract me from what my purpose is.
Playing your own game.
Playing the long game. Always playing the long game. And what I've realised is that I just feel like life is... It's like being a surfer on a surfboard. You'll get big waves, you'll get small waves, you'll fall off, you know, but as long as you start to learn that, you know, and it's all, again, it all goes back to belief systems and mindset and inward. It's always inside that is the issue. It's never really outside. It's more the inside. And if you can tackle that and be able to be comfortable in that and ride those waves without battling them, you'll get to where you want to be, you know? So, yeah. So
how did it come about? Let's talk about Housewives, right?
Okay.
So my missus off camera. I'm going to say it and call her out. Super fan. But I myself want to tap into that. And I think this is why I'm good to ask these questions, because I haven't watched episodes of it.
Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Because I was on the fucking telly. But how did it come about for you? How did that first come around for you? Because you always want to be on TV. This is your moment, Hannah.
I know, this is it. So, so Martin, obviously me and Martin got engaged around the same time. So loads of things happened to me when I was 30. I bought the practice, I got engaged to Martin, and I got asked to go on the show, all in the space of 6 months. It was crazy. But Martin, he treated one of the cast members as a patient, a real patient, like as in she goes to him for her treatments.
Martin works in aesthetics.
Yes, he is. He's an aesthetic doctor, and anyway, so he was like, for ages they were trying to get him on the show, you know, like, and he was like, I'm not going on that bloody show.
To be a cast member on it, or just to be they come in the
I get it. Do treatments and whatever. He's like, I'm not doing it. And I was like, are you mad? I was like, this is great. Like, it's great exposure.
Move out the fucking way. I'll do it. That's what I'm saying.
Boom. No, literally, I was like, this is great exposure. It'd be great, whatever. So he was like, okay, I'll do it. Anyway, he did it, and he saw such an amazing spike in people booking him for this particular treatment that he went on with. And then anyway, one thing led to another. Production then got wind of me. Then they contacted a girl who was working for Martin at the time, who was doing her PR. And then then they came to see me, like. And at the time, I mean, obviously, of course, like, I always had it in my head that I was like, oh, I'd love to do something TV. I'd love to be whatever. But at the same time, I was like, I've got no frigging experience. Like, I'm a dentist now. I've chosen the other path. Like, I've got no idea. But then they came and chatted to me. They did, like, a casting tape where they come and, like...
I want to see the casting tape. Oh,
my God.
Go on, tell us some secrets about the casting tape.
Oh, no, but literally, they came and set it up in my house, and...
How can you do a casting? So what's a casting tape look like for reality TV?
So very similar to this setup. Like, they'll put your camera. Okay. Then you've got someone interviewing you.
God, they'd have fucking loved you, wouldn't they?
Exactly.
That's why you're on it.
Yeah. So then they interview you. They ask you some questions about life and this. And I was just like, whatever. So anyway, did that. And then Martin was like, how did it go? I was like, I don't know, like, whatever. And I just put it to the back of my head. I was like, it'd be great if the opportunity came up, but you never know with these things.
You still had a focus with it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the show before you actually went on it to know about it?
No.
Is that probably a good thing?
Yeah, probably a good thing.
If you would have watched it, would you have gone for it, do you think?
To be honest, I feel like when I first joined the show, I was like a lamb to the slaughter. I was like, went in thinking all these people are going to be my best friend, and like, oh my God, I love her, and she's so nice. Oh my God, what has she said about me behind my back? I didn't understand, I don't think, in its full capacity what it was about, you know, in terms of this is going to be a group of friends, but obviously there's a lot of conflict, a lot of confrontation. And I guess I probably went in a bit naive.
When you went into that show, and look, you can say whatever you like here, right, to an extent, but I'm interested because reality TV is the word alone reality. When you watch it, is it really reality, right? So drama is needed, isn't it, to make TV? So in these moments, is there moments where drama is created for the show? That's yes. There's the answer.
No, do you know what it is, right? Loads of people ask me. This is one of the most common questions that I get asked. Like, is it real? Is it real? Or is it made up for the show? And my answer is always the same. Like, none of the show is scripted. Yeah. None of the producers are telling you what to say. Nobody's putting words in your mouth. But you are put in certain situations that you probably wouldn't be in real life. So it sort of like encourages, you know, like say for example, you've fallen out with someone. Yeah. In real life, you probably never talk to them again, or you'd block them or whatever.
But you have to be in the room with them this time.
But then you've got to go and have an afternoon tea with them and discuss why you're annoyed with them and and then that can escalate and get worse and worse and worse. So it is very real. It is very, you know, nobody's telling you what to say. Nobody's creating the arguments. We all, and to be fair, it's 8 very, very opinionated, strong, loud women that are not scared to tell you what they think. Yeah. So if you're going to get those together, then you're going to get fireworks.
Yeah, but the situation is you're all together in the same time, isn't it?
Exactly.
And I think that's why it's interesting, because knowing that the cameras are there, how I would deem is that, like you say, are you ever thoughtful, especially in the early moments maybe, that this camera is watching, so you have to be careful what it is you are saying?
Yeah, and me and Martin laugh all the time. Okay. About the very first scene that we did together, we were sweating. We were sweating.
Have we said the right thing? Have we done the right thing? Are we coming across okay?
We were both like, literally like so stiff, like, yes, I'm going to go and get you a cup of tea. Like so stiff. We literally laugh at that all the time. Because, in the early days, you know, when the cameras are there, the lights are on, you're like kind of like, oh my God. And they're filming you in bed. You're like, me and Martin woke up like, oh, like, it's surreal. It's surreal. The beginning, I never forget that beginning bit, was just mad. But then it's surprising how quickly you get used to it, you know? And then before you know it, you become a pro. I mean, 5 years later, I'm just like, you know.
So you've done 5 years of the show?
5 years on the show. From
is that 5 seasons or is it more than, how many seasons is that in 5 years?
God, I don't know, 12, 13.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's gone on there.
There's a lot.
So with that, there's obviously positive negatives in there when you're in the limelight then, because the show's obviously very popular.
Yes.
How did it impact your life positively? But how could it also, negatively impact it as well?
I think the positives, we'll start with the positives. Positives, I mean, it's so lovely to have so many thousands of people that, like, you know, are watching you and following your life, and you feel like they're part of your life. They're watching your life. You know, it's mad. It's mad. You know, literally, they've watched my wedding. They've watched me have 2 kids. They've watched me, you know, launch Icy Bear. They've watched me. They've watched everything. Yeah. So it's quite nice that, like, I've got all these people that I feel
kind
like
of
a part of the
journey.
You know, it's lovely. And I always think that, you know, if I'm out and about in Manchester or wherever I am, London, I mean, to be honest, even if I'm abroad, there's Housewives fans everywhere.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you know, I always get such nice people that come over and go, oh, do you know what? Like, it's so great to watch you and you're an inspiration. My daughter's, you know, going to uni, and it's really, I get so many lovely, lovely, like, messages, comments, all sorts of stuff, which I think, oh, do you know what? It warms my heart.
But I think that's a credit to you, though, because I think obviously it's in the show, but just sitting here and speaking to you, even off camera and on camera, you're the same.
Yeah.
So, and I think even when we were chatting, even on DMs and Instagram to get you here, like, you come across like as if everything you're saying is true. So when it did come to reality TV show kind of thing of having to act a certain way, I can tell that it's very real because you don't seem that kind of person. Like, you can't put a false pretense on. I get that from you just speaking to you.
And I guess that's probably what my downfall was at the beginning.
I think that's why you're successful, Hannah, because I think you speak your truth and you're just doing what's right for you. I think it's easy to go on a reality TV show, and it might even have been someone like, if I were on a reality TV show, would it convince you to go a different kind of route and act a different way. And you know, I'm probably not going to watch some episodes now, aren't I? Just to see. But like,
watch
you know,
me getting grilled. Don't watch the beginning bit. Watch the later bit.
But honestly, in all seriousness, I think, like I said, is that it seems like the success is happening for you, which we'll get to Icy Bear in a second, and from reality TV, and why people probably come up to you and say, "Oh, it's really nice to meet you," because you do seem like, you know, you're just still being true to who you are, no matter who's watching or what's being done. But
that's very nice.
But at the same time, there's a negative side to it, isn't there? With reality TV, I can imagine. So you'll get trolls and all. So how do you deal with trolls? Because I mean, I get some now. I'm not to the level that you'll get. Like I get the odd person who'll see my ads, sponsored posts that I do for my business, or even people will come on my Instagram page and go, "Oh, you fucking think you've got it nailed, you," and all this stuff. And I just message them back and go, "Honestly, I want to help you. Like, what's your issue? You've obviously like." I genuinely do feel like that.
I bet they get even more angry.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep on it at night. I think, oh my god, Kevin from fucking Stoke sat in his armchair, fucking like, couldn't give a shit, Kevin, politely, right? Go and do your own shit. You know, I'm going to die one day. I've got kids to look after. I've got other things to achieve. But it can affect some people. Years ago, when I worked in the music industry, it did affect me with people saying certain things. And I've grown up now to just be like, fucking couldn't give a shit, mate. I'm on tunnel vision. I know what I want. But how do you handle negative comments? And especially not just online, the show, you're in the press and everything and all these things said about you. So how do you handle all those if it's from a negative side?
To be honest, I mean, I always say that when you sign up to reality TV, when you sign up to anything that's in the public eye, the small print is that you are now part of this media circus. There are going to be people that say really positive things. There's going to be people that say negative things. It's just part of the job description. So half the time, you know, when people get so caught up in, oh, trolls and it's like, well, if you're putting yourself out there, you're going to get people that are negative. Yeah. But a lot of the times, to be honest, I mean, the way that I see trolls or people that are negative towards you, it's all about what's going on inside themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's not about you. It's about them. Like, if they are saying to you, oh, you loud gobshite, this, it's because they don't feel confident enough to be able to say what we're saying or, you know. So it's always a reflection on them. So when you see it that way, you sort of think, it's really sad. Yeah. Like, you feel like you have to get on and call me for my laugh or my voice or my accent or, you know, where that's fine, you know, that's just shit for you. Yeah. And that's how I see it. And I don't read it, I don't engage in it, I never respond to any negative comments. I just water off a duck's back. Not asked. I'm just like, okay, fine. It's like
what helps me, and I think it might help viewers, is I look at it and I think I'm one in millions of people that life could be worse for me. Why would I give a shit about someone saying one random comment when my kids are warm, they've got a pillow to put their head down on, their food, I'm winning in regards to how I see winning. So, like you said, it's water off the duck's back, and it's just the sense of reality is there's something that's going on that you need to figure out. I don't fucking need to do that for you. Exactly. Politely.
Yeah, and it's sad that so many people do get trolled, and I think it's a big thing in this country. There's just so many people that are depressed.
Yeah, well, I turn like, yeah, it's right. Like, if I'm the car with the kids, it's happened a few times. Like even yesterday, picking Myra up from childminders, is I'll turn the radio off when news is on. I won't let the kids listen to it because I'm not letting them get conditioned in the bullshit that gets put out there. Yeah. So literally, it's the same because, like, you know, have their own thoughts and feelings and what they want to achieve, but like it can get to
consume
you. Yeah, it can consume you and go different.
I don't watch any news. I don't listen to any.
I don't watch it. Turn it off. And politely, like I stay well away from it. If you're all into that, whether you're into your religion or whether you're into X, Y, and Z, that's fine. Probably might work for you, but I'm like total opposite. I'm just whatever comes, and I put out that energy like you were saying earlier. Yeah. So look, you've left the show now, I believe, right?
I have, yes. I've stepped down.
You can't say you're going to go back. You'll be seen on the series, won't you? But step down from being a cast member.
as a full housewife. And to be honest, I mean, just touching back on the show, you know, it's 5 years of my life, and I really have had a great time as well. Yeah. You know, there are negatives to it. There's, you know, it's a lot, and it takes up a lot of time and energy and effort and everything, but overall, it's been fun, and I've made some really nice friends out of it. But I've stepped down as a full-time housewife. I will be going back as a guest. I filmed with them last night actually, which was funny. But yeah, so I will still be appearing on the show, but just not in the full.
Yeah, and it's helped the brand, hasn't it? Because now you're seen more by other individuals that can see what you're doing now. Yeah, which helps. Yeah. So going into that, Icy Bear. Yeah. Right. So when did that baby begin to plant the seed and go, right, I want to start to do something like this? I'd assume it probably been a couple of years previous because you got the branding to do and everything.
That's right, yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was before COVID. So we, I thought to myself, do you know what? I really, really want to sort of sell my own dental products. And it's sort of that whole thing came from actually when I was working as a cosmetic dentist.
Yep.
I used to do a lot of treatments, like a lot of Invisalign, composite bonding, veneers. And my patients would always say to me, like, what should I use? Like, what are the best products? Like, what, like what, you know, what toothpaste? I don't want to use Colgate. Is there anything else that I can use? And I was always like, there really isn't something that's sort of like professional grade and professionally developed that's also like nice and luxury, you know, that actually does what it says. Yeah, does the job. There's a bit of a gap in the market here. So that was always sort of in my head. So obviously when I got on the show, and I'd been on the show quite a while, it wasn't straight away. I sort of thought, do you know what, this will be a great platform to do that. So we started with a toothpaste, and I always laugh because it was literally on my mum and dad's kitchen table, drawing logos and, you know, thinking of ideas, you know, like, oh, what should we call it?
Give me some of the shit names that you had. Can you remember?
Well, I really wanted to call it Polar. And then we looked, and my dad was like, it's been trademarked, you can't call it Polar. I was like, yeah, but you can. And he was like, no, it doesn't work like that. So, and I think it was Martin and my mum were like, yeah, Icy, because we were thinking about Polar Bear, Arctic Bear.
Ice,
and then Martin was like, Icy Bear. I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. So, yeah, I mean, what a journey that's been. Yeah. Like, wow. We started with one product. We launched it on Housewives. And
what year was that, sorry, Hannah, when you launched it?
That was 2020.
Nice.
2020, we launched it on Housewives, and to be fair, like at the beginning, I mean, I didn't have a clue about e-commerce. What the fuck do I know about e-commerce? I literally designed a pretty package, and I was like, ooh, the branding, and I went to my friend who did websites, and can you do this? It was so, like, I look back at it now and I'm like, oh my God.
But that's the best way of learning though, isn't it?
Yeah, literally.
You're grinding it.
And it did so well off the back of the show. So obviously when we launched it on the show, we had so many of the Housewives fans, like, you know, buying it, whatever. We had an incredible year one.
Yeah.
And then year two, obviously those sales start to dry up. And I was just spending, like, because the money was coming in, and I was paying thousands of pounds for these insane shoots, getting photographers from London, models from here, there, and everywhere. And I was just spending the money. I got myself an office, I kitted it out. And literally, year two, it was like, shit, the money's like drying up.
You're balance sheet done all right.
You're spending everything. Like, what the hell? You need to start, like, understanding digital marketing. I swear to God, for the first, like, 18 months, we didn't even touch, like, the email marketing.
Just all through organic.
It was all organic, like, it was crazy. So year two for us was really like, wow, learning curve. I got rid of the office, you know, I stripped it all back. And then I started to really sort of get the right people in to help me understand, like, the whole digital market. I had like 25,000 email addresses. I hadn't done anything with them. Like,
wow.
It was insane. Honestly, they were looking at it like, what the fuck is going on?
5x your digital marketing, you know what to see, don't you?
So I didn't have a clue. So year two was just like, it went year one, year two, and then year three. Now that I've stepped away from Housewives, I've taken a more of a back seat in Kiln Lane and the practice, and my full-time focus is Icy Bear, and it's just grown and grown and grown. We've gone from strength to strength, and I think what's so nice is that the brand is actually standing on its own 2 feet now. It's not requiring the reality show, and it's that whole.
It's all about the product.
It's now
the brand
about the products.
itself.
We've just seen incredible growth, and it's now a steady growth, healthy growth, not like It's now a steady, healthy growth, and it's. Yeah.
How do you stand? How do you believe you stand out in that industry? Because it's quite a competitive industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how are you going to stand out? I know you've recently got it into Harrods.
Yes.
How did that come around? Have you literally just been doing the meetings, reaching out, and people, or maybe people reached out to yourself?
Yeah. So a mixture of both, really. I think to answer your first question, how do we stand out? Obviously, I'm a dentist myself.
Yeah.
So I've got first-hand experience in terms of like key ingredients, things that we use in practice, and we've used all of that knowledge and information to formulate our own products.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big key feature. Also, like, you know, innovation. I think I'm massive on innovation, like, you know, things that other brands don't do or don't have, you know, different ingredients, different technologies and that kind of thing. So I think we are very innovative. Yeah, and also obviously we've got a really big like social following and everything else, and we do a lot of work in making sure that people that do buy from us feel like they're part of the brand and part of the journey. And again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, doesn't it, about that whole customer journey from start to finish. So that's that. And then Harrods, I mean, we were reaching out to several. I've been really picky about what retailers that I contact or that I would want to be in. And it was really funny because I really wanted like Superdrug for a while, but Superdrug probably wasn't the right fit at all.
Yeah.
And we'd got into a lot of like talks and discussions with them, and it fell through. And at the time, this is again talking about failures, I was gutted. I was crying. I was like, I really wanted this. Like, it was going so well, and and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then literally 3 months later, Harrods came in.
Yeah, the best thing happens for you.
Yeah, and Harrods were like, we love the brand. We really like you. Will you come down to the Knightsbridge store and, you know, train the staff? And it was amazing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I think when you think of, because when I agree with that, when you think of Harrods and you think of Superdrugs, and there's no respect to it, when you think of your branding, when you align the two together, it does immediately, you know, align in where you're trying to head.
It didn't fit Superdrug. It wasn't the right price point, I guess, and it wasn't the right, it wasn't, we are a luxury oral care brand, you know, and to have Harrods on board, I think is just... was great.
So you're super ambitious. You've got all these businesses going on. And so I always say this because people ask me the same question. So I've got numerous businesses going on, even a podcast launching now. People say, where do you get the time? How do you get the balance right? I've got 2 kids. You got 2 yourself, is it 2? Yeah. Toddlers as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they
right?
are.
Probably similar around age. Yeah, Brock's 5 and 5 not so mine will be 2. How do you get the balance between looking after 2 little ones and your businesses? Like, how are you doing that?
God, it's hard, isn't it?
You're just doing
it. It's hard.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I'm always very honest about sort of help that I get. Like, you know, I've got them in nursery. I've got the grandparents, like Martin's parents are very hands-on and my parents are very hands-on.
Yeah,
they both literally live like 10 minutes away from me. So, I have a lot of help, and I think that's really important. And I guess, again, that's one of the things that we work hard for. You know, nurseries are expensive and all these, but it all feeds the machine that allows us to work the way that we do. And Martin, he's a powerhouse on his own. So we're sometimes like passing ships, you know, like get home late, work hard, you know. But then at the same time, we do have the nice things like the holidays.
I'm going to say the rewards are exciting. That's what gives you a drive, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, which is really good.
Memories.
And I think 100%. I think that's when you get a taste for it, and you get those kind of rewards. Like you wanna do more. So it's like I said to my missus, like our kids are very lucky. So we went to forget what it is now in Turkey, a holiday. Like it was super expensive. We paid for it all inclusive for the week, and we're going there again this year. Like we say, it's hard to maintain it. And then New York this year and other places, but. Like we said before, people don't see the you know the challenges and the things that have come with that that to maintain that. But when you get a taste of that, it gives you that drive and ambition to want to do more and be more. And I guess it's not because you know the products are defining things and think, oh, I want this fast car, whatever. It's just it does something to you, I think, doesn't it? It's when you get that moment and that breakthrough of something you've achieved in something you want, it kind of gives you that drive and ambition to want to maintain it, doesn't it? And actually be more and push on more.
100%. And I always say like money is like the master key. All it does is it opens up doors for new experiences. It allows us to have different experiences. That's the only reason I'm interested in it.
It doesn't change the person.
I'm not asked about like, you know, oh, you get a bag and oh, you get and I know some people might think like, oh, well, you know, it's all right for you. You have got nice stuff or you've got nice. Well, I've worked hard for it and I do like, you know, nice things. And I think it's important that if you do work hard that you reward yourself for it. But ultimately, it's about experiences. And, you know, if that work that we're putting in now means that I can take my son skiing, or I can take my daughter horse riding, or let her go to ballet lessons, these are all things that, you know, that we're working hard for their lifestyle, and for them to be able to have these experiences.
And you never got that hand in the plate. Like I said, when you go back to your early days of being so young, you know, your parents coming over and doing everything else, you've had to work so hard to even get to that position.
Hard for it. We were never wealthy growing. Don't get me wrong, we weren't poor, but we weren't in a position where, you know, mum and dad had loads of spare cash and whatever. They were working just as hard just to sort of get us to school and, you know, give us a better life over here. So yeah.
What do you think when it comes to like a work-life balance? I don't believe in it. So I don't like. I've had this conversation. I used to try and split fucking work and life and go right. And when I did that, it stressed me the fuck out big time. So now I call it life balance.
Life balance,
because I love work anyway. And it's part of my life, and I just try and find the balance. So, do you believe in a work-life balance, or do you just, like I said, you just manage these things correctly?
God, it's a hard one, isn't it?
It's hard to answer, isn't it?
It's hard to answer, and I think it's hard to balance everything. But I guess you just have to feel like, I don't know, it's tough. Like, you know, you got to have enough time with the kids and being present with them. That's the present time. That's different.
Absolutely.
You know, if they're running around and you're on your phone or your laptop, you're like, shut up, you know, I'm trying to do this. You know, that doesn't count as time with your kids. You know, that present time where you put your phone away and you go, right, Max, go on, let's do this jigsaw together, or let's do this. You know, that is really crucial. I think time together as partners, you know, or husband and wife, or, you know, spending that time with whoever you're with. And then you've got work that you've got a sandwich in here somewhere. So it's like freaking hell. But yeah, I think it's just about sort of trying to plan, you know, your weeks and that kind of thing, and box out. Me and Martin are really geeky. Like, we box out times in our diary.
No, that's like, good.
Family time, you know, couple time.
You ready? Watch this. I want to prove it to you now. Look at mine. Family time, cook tea, family time, meditation.
That's what I mean.
I'm exactly the same.
You're
I've got
exactly the same.
And it works, doesn't it? So if you manage it better, because that's what I'm going to ask you. How do you maintain focus in the challenging times, like when we come back and business has been shit? How do you maintain that focus and that resilience to just keep pushing on?
I think that's when I think the people around you are important. You know, like Martin has always been like, bless him, he's always been like my biggest fan, you know, and supporter. And I remember when year 2, when Icy Bear was, you know, in a bit of a sticky place. And I remember just Mark being like, "You just gotta keep going, Ham." And I was upset, and I was like, "Shit, you know, I just don't know how I'm gonna turn it around." And he was very much like my rock, and was like, "It's gonna work. Like, you know, just keep going. You're doing the right thing." So I think times like that, it's really important to have those people, or a person that's your supporter, that's gonna give you that, like, whereas my mum was like, "Hannah, it's too much hard work. Forget it. Why are you doing this, Hannah? This is terrible, Hannah." And I'm like, "This is not the shit I need to hear right now." Like, so it depends on who, like, you've got in your ear, but find that one person
100%
that you know is going to just give you that. Go on.
My missus is the same, so I've been with her 10 years now. Without her, like, I've been in a shit situation, £10 in my pocket at one stage where I lost it all, and I slept under Clapham fucking tunnel one time in the music industry, and £1 megabus going out of London just to make things happen. And she was the one, and when my dad got ill, she was the one who shook me and said, "Come on, like, this isn't you, you've got this." Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, why do you want to be with a loser like me? You know what I mean? Like, he's telling me some of these negative things. Like, I had it all, I've lost it all now. Like, you know, and I'm pushing people away, but it takes that one person just to kind of give that inspiration again, to remind you who the fuck you are.
Exactly.
And you get up and you go again. And I think that's the same with friends, and I don't mind saying it because I fucking say it online anyway. I got rid of a lot of friends, you know, those who still follow me and still watch my fucking stories, and I know who you are. And they're all just fucking bitter, jealous, and they might put the odd like and the odd love out just to look like they actually care, but then they don't show up when you're in your lowest moments. And you've got to know who. I say you've got to understand, this is what you've done really well, which I think you've got it clocked in knowing who Hannah is, I guess, from experience now. I guess I might be wrong, I feel like I'm still learning kind of with a lot of things that I'm doing in my life, but it seems like you know your who you are for your true self, right?
And it's tapping in, I think it's tapping into your authenticity. Like it, and that is our power. Every single one of us has it. It's just you've got to find out who is your authentic you and just be that person.
Did you ever lose that at one stage? Because I kind of got caught, because I had the wrong people around me at one time, and I kind of lost who I was.
I guess there's not so much lose it, but I guess there's been diversions.
Yeah.
When you sort of like diverted off. And and I guess, when you're around the wrong people, when people come into your life and you think that, you can trust them and and we're talking about friends before, and you're saying about the people that are watching you, I've had, and more noticeably since I got on the show, I had a lot of friends that I thought were my friends, and I thought that, the years of friendship, we've got each other's backs and whatever, and it turned out that they didn't, and I got very hurt by a lot of them. But again, I just think it's about, I guess it's about sort of like getting rid of that kind of energy in your life and being okay with that. Even though, and at times it'll be so hurtful, because it might be a partner that you've been with for 15 years, or it might be a mate that you've been friends with since you were a little girl, but now their energy is not aligned.
You can always
with
outgrow
yours.
someone. Even family members, you can outgrow them.
Yeah, you can outgrow
100%.
them.
A question I want to ask you, which will be good, because Nick always asks it, who's not here to have a business partner. It always said, going on that what you said there, is, well, how do you get the balance of knowing who you trust and who you don't in your life then?
I think you get a sense for it, and I know that sounds mental, but I think there's this, that whole gut feeling thing. There's always, I feel like you can always feel if something's just not right. Like you can't put your finger on it. You're friends with them and whatever, but there's just some weird energy. And then it sort of then transpires that they were a twat. You think, oh yeah, well that was, I knew that. Deep down. But I think you've just got to be. I think, and I guess actually this is a really good point. Like, I think where I made mistakes and what I've learned from is probably being too open too quickly. Like giving my heart, wearing my heart on my sleeve, letting people in, letting people, be part of this thing that actually you should protect, and letting them be part of that. And then their intentions weren't probably, in line with me. They were more for themselves. And then I thought, oh shit, it's happened again. But then you can't lose faith in like people, but it is hard.
It is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is.
What's the future for you, Hannah? Like, where you wanting to, are you looking at yourself as a brand as much as your products around you as well? Like in where you can go as an individual?
Do you know what? I feel like, for me, the brand has probably taken centre stage now, because I feel like I had my little time of, the cameras and the lights and being, the focus. But I really now want to, work on my brand, get it to where I want it to be. I know where I want it to be.
Where's that? Tell me. Where is it? Tell me. Where is it?
I've seen it. I've dreamt it up. No, but I want it to be super successful. I feel like we are really sort of positioned in a really nice sweet spot in between healthcare and medical, sort of products and that kind of thing. So I really want to push forward with that. I want to see my brand succeed. We have got like a kids range and ideas for kids dentistry and workshops for schools and that kind of thing that we're working on at the moment.
Because you recently did that, didn't you? Did you do a workshop with young ones recently?
Yeah, we did.
That was pretty cool.
So we've got Icy Bear Dental Cubs, which is the kids branch of the business. And we are currently in talks with investors to come on board with that, to roll out workshops for kids in schools on oral health, like how to brush their teeth and, what to eat, what not to eat, and all those kind of things for key stage 1 and 2. So, so there's lots of exciting things in the pipeline.
So you're ambitious, aren't you? Very ambitious where you want to go. Look, we've got to start to wrap this up, and we do a quick fire question, but I just want to say, again, thank you for coming all the way and seeing us.
My pleasure.
So good to have you. And this is why I'm glad I didn't watch the show, if you like, because when we've done off camera, you're just the same as you are here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we said it. It said, like, I think people and social media and I guess my experience, like I said to you before, working in the music industry previously, is you look at people on TV, you look at people in the news and the papers, and you don't see them as human, right?
Yeah.
And we don't think they have emotions, and we don't think they've got X, Y, Z going on. And then when you actually unravel and you get to know these individuals, and I'm very fortunate now in my life to meet people like yourself and stuff who have that, who've been on that, silver screen, if you like to say, and people need to understand, like, you know, everyone's just fucking human, and everyone's got a story, and everyone's got skeletons, and everyone's got all these things going on. So I think what you see on social media, and I'm guilty for it, is that, you know, it's a show, right? It's what we want you to see because it looks the best parts and whatever. I mean, my stories are more raw, like I'm very big and open in my stories, but from a feed point of view, it needs to look a certain way next because it's part of the brand, etc. But this is why I like these conversations, because we get to the raw person of you. And I just want to say to you, like, I think you're an absolute credit to who you are and what you've done and what you've achieved. So I think there's many people that can go in reality TV and it can go a different way, where, you know, they don't have as much as ambition what you've seen me do. But I think you've had that ambition way before TV even started. And you seem like you know who you are and you've known that from day dot. And I think that's a big lesson that people can learn from yourself, in just knowing what it is you want, in being selfish, driving determination with it. And I think you attract those right people who also have that same kind of ambition, and it just comes with you, doesn't it, at the same time? So credit to yourself. Your kids will be super proud of you.
Lovely.
They will be, Hannah. They'll be super proud.
Thank you.
Quick fire questions. So, are you ready for this?
Yes, go on.
We say quick fire. I'm going to call him out, George Groves. We say quick fire, and you took about 5-10 minutes answering these, which I don't mind. But anyway, best piece of advice you've ever received?
Be patient. Good things will come, but in time.
Love that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's important to be patient then?
Because I think, especially in this day and age, like, you want things yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And like all this stuff we've been talking about on the podcast, things take time. Yeah. It takes time. And time is what you don't see on social media. Yeah. You just see the end result. So yeah, be patient.
Nice. You ready for this? One thing people would be surprised to learn about Hannah. What's something we don't know about you?
Oh gosh, something that you don't know about me. I was an extra in Harry Potter 2.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that come about?
One of my mum's friends was the assistant director. And at the time I was like 10, 11. And she was like, does she want to be? And I was like, fucking hell, yeah.
Like trying to push Hermione out the way. God, this should have been me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is my moment.
Amazing.
But yeah.
Is there any footage that you can find that way you're next to?
It's when the owl lands in a bowl of crisps, you know, when he gets the howler. And I'm sat behind Hermione.
Only you'd remember that.
You see like a blurred half side of my face.
Everyone will be searching for it now, won't they? Favourite guilty pleasure TV show? Can't say Housewives.
Oh, God. This is terrible, this, because I don't really... Oh, Love is Blind.
Okay.
I love it.
Not seen it. Not seen it. Right.
Terrible, but I love it.
3 guests, past or present, you'd have at your dinner table.
Angelina Jolie, 100%.
Why?
She's ace.
Okay.
I just think she's ace. Like, she's done so much charity work. She's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's ace. I'd like to chat to her. Who else would I like to chat to? Elon Musk, probably.
Nice.
Have a little chat with him. And maybe... Who else would I? Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Get to the bottom of what's going on.
What music are you into, by the way? What music are you into?
I like a mixture of everything, really. 90s, all 90s.
90s dance.
Yeah, 90s dance. It's the one.
You can't beat it. Right, so if you was in the jungle, I'm a celebrity, it might happen one day, who knows, right?
Who knows?
You get to the final, you've got to choose your main, your starter, your main, your dessert, and your drink. What's Hannah choosing?
Oh, like my favourite food ever. Starter. Like something goat's cheese. I love goat's cheese.
Nice, it's underrated, isn't it?
Oh my God, I love it.
I like goat's cheese, yeah.
Like a block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm all for
goat's
that.
cheese. And then main, my mum's lasagna. My mum's lasagna and veggies. Honestly, my mum makes the best lasagna ever. And then dessert, I'd probably go for like sticky toffee pudding with ice cream.
No way, that's my favourite. Honestly, ask anyone. If you go, that's the only thing I look for.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's
or
the go-to.
Costco birthday cake. Have you tried
that? Yeah, Costco birthday cake's nice. Birthday
cake, big slice of that.
Unreal. But sticky toffee pudding is the god tier. What's the drink you'd have?
Oh, the drink. Gin and tonic.
Nice.
Hendrix.
Nice.
Slimline. Hendrix and Slimline. Biggest
lesson you've learned from your time on Housewives?
Biggest lesson. How important it is to have a thick skin and like not take things to heart easily. Like, I think getting sort of over emotional about, and do you know what, and I guess it's different when you're on a reality show, and it's sort of like, you know, there's a lot of conflict and that kind of thing, so it's easily said in that, but then that actually transpires into life. Like, you know, I've got a very thick skin now, like, you know, as we were saying about trolls and people saying, oh, you're this, you're that, it just doesn't hurt me. I don't feel negative towards them. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like, okay, that's your opinion. And I think Housewives has given me that.
Yes,
because before that, I would have been like, oh, yeah, taking it like, you twat, you know, like, I'd want to like retaliate, but now I'm just like, whatever.
Again, it just comes back, you know who you are, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know your
exactly.
worth, your value, don't hear
okay.
I say it. And what are you binging on Netflix right now, if we looked at your Netflix?
Kin. Oh, no, that's not on Netflix, that's on BBC. I love Kin. Kinsella. Kinsella.
We'll take that anyway. Yeah. Netflix, BBC.
Yeah. Well, it's actually about an Irish family called Kinsella, not related to us, that are like a big drug family. It's really good.
Nice. Right, wrapping this up, what advice would you give to our listeners and to our viewers to summarise how they, whether it be business, whether it be life, just to give them some advice to help them to find their own greatness and find who they really are?
A bit of advice. I think probably take some time to sit and think about what it is that you actually want. Make it very clear in your head what it is you want. So if it was me, what would be the perfect life and the perfect scenario for Hannah? Think of that in your head. Make sure that you keep that in your mind and work with that as the goal. And believe in yourself. You are your own biggest advocate. Like, you know, if you're not going to sell yourself, who is? Do you know what I mean? So believe in yourself. Make sure that you try and sort of keep that determination. That's what's going to get you the success in the long run. Determination is massive. And yeah, I think keeping that visualization of who you want to be.
Amazing. Hannah, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Amazing. That was so good.